And we are live, guys. What's up, you guys? This is Joseph Darling coming here with his point of view of life and what makes things happen. Basically, I wanted to do a live video today about beginning with the end in mind. That is a quote from the book written by Stephen R. Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And it's a fantastic book, very long, very hard to read, but the principles that are in there, man, they're just simply eternal and they need to be applied. And I just wanted to begin with the end in mind when it comes to the Men of High Value movement, because this is a movement that is just underway. The exponential growth curve will come way later, but the small, simple steps that we're doing right now is what will create that movement. If you've noticed, I do these videos every single day. Now, it's not the same time every single day. I mean, that will come later. The most important part is that I'm consistent about it because I'm passionate about the topics that I share, and I'm passionate about sharing it with the world and creating an audience where people actually improve their lives because of the things that I teach. Like, my life has been massively improved over the past 10 years when I've dedicated myself to understanding psychology, understanding people, understanding the woman, understanding male and female dynamics, understanding family dynamics and how to raise kids properly. And like all of this, I want to share that with you. So let's get right into the video. And if we're going to begin with the end in mind, I mean, for such a long time, I was just debating, should I teach people about polygamy? Should I teach them about politics? Should I teach them about... And then I just realized, you know what? The best thing you can do for people is just to be completely honest, completely transparent about what you're really thinking. Now, in the YouTube course that I'm taking from Graham Stephen, he's a fantastic YouTuber about finances and real estate. And he teaches in his course, in his real estate course, that you should speak to your audience as if they're very, very young. And because that's most of the YouTubers are actually kids, teenagers, and most of the older generation are not there. They're not watching YouTube much. And I agree, and you need to make it very simple and straightforward, blah, blah, blah. And also, you need to have a niche, but it can't be just like a complete, like such a niche that you only hit a few core people. And then basically, don't talk about politics and don't talk about things that can kind of, make people to unsubscribe. But I'm of the understanding that it's really not about the subscribers. It's all about the subscribers, right? You can't do anything without an audience. You can't create a business out of nothing. You have to have people who love and are actually like have their lives improved because of your message. And I truly believe that they will, the ones who follow this one. My point is, I just want transparency. Because I don't want to lead people along for a long time explaining about general principles about psychology, male and female dynamics, and then down the road I basically say, all along polygamy was the answer, but I didn't share it because, you would have left me. And then people will leave anyway. So I don't care. Right now, beginning with the end in mind, what I see and visualize for the world. Monogamy, in my opinion, is the root of all evil. Now, people use that passage in the Bible about money. No, that's not correct. But monogamy, however, you can actually state that fact. The reason why I would say monogamy is the root of all evil is simply because it doesn't work. You can see it from your own dysfunctional family. Every single one of us comes from a dysfunctional family in some way, form, or another. And it's either very dysfunctional and it didn't work out with the parents, or it's like a little bit dysfunctional and the parents still managed to create a life together and try to raise their kids the best that they could. But it is a system that's faulty simply because it is designed in some way, shape, or form to have the two partners in the relationship eventually fall out of love. Now, they love each other, absolutely, but they're not in love. There's a massive difference between that. When you fall in love in the honeymoon stage, and you just started dating, or you've just dated a few months, or maybe you've been even married for a year or two. That's the nice phase where you're just like totally in love with each other, blah blah blah, we can conquer the world, da 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 da. But eventually you hit the phase of having issues and problems and bickering and nagging and all that stuff that happens within the four walls of your home that you never tell anyone else about, simply because it lowers your status as a guy to tell people that you're struggling with your relationship to your woman. It's basically like, what, you can't manage that relationship? Like, what's the matter with you? No, everyone's struggling in monogamy. It's not just, the exception. It's the rule. Monogamy is built in such a way that you cannot stay in love. It's built in such a way that the woman will always look down on her man, unless he's a superstar or a multimillionaire who basically leads tens of people or hundreds of people and is massively successful, and she daily sees that success on a daily basis. Now, their relationship, she actually will have stints of being in love with her husband. But if you're a regular guy, no, there's no chance. Your woman will look down on you, and you'll have maybe stints here and there where she likes, oh, I love you so much. Trust me, it's more of a friendship. And that's why, people throughout marriage, they're basically like, it goes from that passionate in love phase, and then eventually it will fade out, and it will be more that you love each other, but it's a deeper, no, don't accept that. It's not okay to be like, for me, this is just for me. I'm not talking about people in general. I'm just being transparent about what's going on in my head. If I can just be allowed to share that, I'd love that. And I'll just tell you that I'm passionate about excellence. I'm passionate about having systems that function for everyone. They function because it's nature. It's the system. The system is it's built up to succeed. And I want to build up systems where people automatically succeed. There's certain business systems in the world today where people automatically succeed if they follow the rules of the game. That's like real estate. That's building up a sales force. That's building anything in business. If you simply follow the rules, you will become successful. And it's the same thing when it comes to male and female dynamics and relationships. If you follow the rules of the system, it's gonna work for you. But you've got to be ready. You've got to have prepared yourself and seen beforehand the costs of that type of relationship. And the ultimate relationship, according to my opinion, when you're prepared, when you're ready, and when you've gotten the permission of the parents and you understand the system full and through. You've got the resources to do it. You're an honorable man, respectable, all of those things. And you're committed to this and to these women, because this is polygamy. You're not married, but if you follow the system, they will never leave you. And that system is what I call 3 girls in love. 3 girls in love is what I see to be, maybe in 50, 60 years, is what will become mainstream. I'm not talking about the past generations. If you're watching this and you're already monogamous, and that's fantastic, keep that relationship, make it wonderful, make it holy, keep it sacred, and never give up. And keep reinforcing the love that you have for one another. Absolutely. But if it's impractical to listen to this, that's not a problem either. Just know that when I talk about these certain things, I'm talking to the next generation. The generation of 12-year-olds up until like 25, 30-year-olds who have not gotten married yet, who are wondering, should I have a family in the future or should I not? And why am I here? Like, what is my motivation? And especially when I hear all these men on internet and everywhere who say that marriage is a sham and it's not worth it for any 21st century male to get married these days. I understand that. Like, it's completely different to get married today than it was 50 years ago. Because 50 years ago, the law was basically on the man's side. I'm not saying that that was correct. I'm just saying that that was how it worked. So divorces were pretty much, they weren't as often as they were today. But at the same time, they were oppressing women and blaming them for a lot of things that were going on. The next step now is monogamy, where basically the law is completely on the woman's side, and men are basically getting the shaft. Like, they're not, it's very difficult to get married today and actually make it work for you in the long term after a massive amount of investment. And now, if you're a member of like a religious group like Mormons, for example, who get married in their temples, like, you have a higher possibility of success. But even in those religious groups, you're not absolved from all these difficulties. But it's easier to make it work because you're both trying to improve and become better. But if you're out there and you live in the secular world and you're trying to make monogamy work for you, man, it's going to be very, very hard. It's going to be beautiful at times. It is beautiful to raise kids, beautiful to have a woman, and you know, if you do things right in monogamy, you have continual sexual access, which is great. But what if you're not doing things right? At least you should get educated, and you can get educated through this channel. But if you're a young kid, you should get prepared for something that's better. You should be prepared for something that can bring more excellence to your life. And that is, in my opinion, 3 girls in love. How will the world look like when there's 3 girls in love? Well, men will have 3 women who will be committed to him. And he will be committed to her, and he will treat them equally. And he will have tons of resources because he's a leader, he's a businessman, he's created his life, he has enough passive income to provide for himself and definitely for them and for all the kids that they have. In that relationship, I'm completely against that women should have as many kids as possible. I'm saying that there should be 3 kids every single 8 years. So 1 child per woman every 8 years. You need to have family planning, because if you have family planning, then the women will never be burdened. They'll always be there for one another. They help each other with cleaning. They help each other with food. And it's fun. When you're alone as a monogamous woman and you have to cook, clean, work, and take care of all the kids and drive them around like a taxi, and then your husband wanting sex and wanting help with his business and helping this to find this and that and the other, it's horrible. It's horrific. But if you're 3 women, you will absolutely love that arrangement. Women will. But since this is a Men of High Value channel, I'm talking to you guys. You will love that relationship because the women will at all times look up to you as long as you obey by the principles and the system and the rules of it. Treating them equally, having a financial standard, giving them some form of allowance and money so that they can shop and have fun and do what they want to do, and giving them, basically allowing them to smell the flowers, to live their life, and not expecting them to do work and to do all these different things. Allow women to be feminine, allow them to do what they want to do. How is this going to work? Like Jordan Peterson, he talks about how if there's polygamy, it would be a destabilized system and destabilized society. In my opinion, we're talking now, 50 years from now, we live in the information age, people are going to be become educated. Not academic educated, but they're going to get educated at least massively through YouTube and through all these online courses that is being developed right now. It's going to be a huge wave of the future, and people will become more and more educated. What's going to end up happening is that probably 5% of men in the beginning, maybe in 20 to 30 years, will have gotten this principle, and they will say, you know what? Let's make it happen. Boom. 15% of the whole world population, right there and then, are now committed to a man who's honorable, respectable, who has his resources in order. And that's 20% of the whole population of the world. Their children will grow up in a family where the women love their husband and the husband loves the women. They not only love each other, but they're in love. And they're passionate about their relationship, they're passionate about life, and they're passionate about their family and their kids. There's so much more to this system. I'd love to go into it, but for now, let's move on. My vision is that, can you imagine 1/3 of the men? We just need 1/3 of the whole human population, or the whole population who is above 18 years old, if you can call it that, or above 25. And that will secure 100% of the adult women on this planet. And they will be provided for, and they will have no burdens. Women and children. What are we trying to do? We're trying to elevate children and women out of poverty. Do you know how much problems women have because of it? Now, there will be some women out there who don't want to, and there will be other women who are just not marriageable. But at least we're moving in the right direction towards having a man who's honorable and respectable, who treats his wives equally, and who will be able to provide for these women. And what about all those other guys, the 2/3 of other guys who don't have any sexual access? Well, let me tell you what's going on in the world today. People are today living polygamously already. It's just the fact that we believe we live in a monogamous society. But with all the cheating that's going on, oh my gosh, and with the way that, men and women are not getting married as early as they used to before. So basically everyone is having sex, and it's not just men having many women. Many women are having many men. And so you end up in this promiscuous society that's not good for anyone. Now, it might be fun for a while, but what are we teaching our children? And what are we teaching our kids about women? Especially the way that they're designed, because they love bad guys very often, until a certain point where they're like, no, I need a good guy in my life because, I'm very masculine and I need a feminine guy because, we're polar opposites. That's the world we're living in right now, and it's very much polygamous unless you're in a bubble in a religion where you don't see all of that stuff. I mean, you see it anyway. It's on TV. It's everywhere. We live in a promiscuous society, and we're living polygamy right now. Yes, is it illegal? Absolutely. But it was because men were oppressing women and blaming them. In this future system, men take full responsibility for their actions, but also for the actions of their women and children. And in such a way, then, it's impossible then for it not to work out in a family where the man actually does that. So, that would be fantastic. An educated world where there's 3 girls in love, and the last part, which is in some ways necessary for us to actually make that first system succeed. And that is, I desire with all of my heart to create a libertarian society that's based on voluntarism / capitalism. Now, capitalism, people have so warped ideas about what capitalism is. Really, what capitalism is, in very simple terms, is people taking care of themselves and their families by giving service to the community and society and getting rewarded for that service that they perform. The bad con capitalism that's going on today is because it's half socialistic. because the government and the politicians is just this massive thing, and the richest people in society are paying politicians to create laws and suggest laws that benefit the rich. And the rich are able to hire expensive lawyers to understand those rules, and it's only them who understand those rules. And if they're sued, it's not a problem because they've got the best lawyers. If you create a libertarian society, suddenly they're not protected by politicians anymore. It's a free market where basically, I'm not saying free for all, I'm saying that there are laws, there's a national defense, there's police, and people obey because there's fewer laws, massively fewer laws, and the basic laws that are in place is basically to not infringe on someone else's freedom. If you infringe on someone else's freedom, you should be locked up. And there need to be strong punishments when you do scam other people, when you lie, when you create a business that actually isn't a service, or any other thing that you create. And I truly believe that 95% of the people that are out there are good, honest people who are trying their best. You've got this 5%ers on the opposite side who are actually doing bad things. And the basic reason for that is because they lack real life education. I'm not talking about academic education. Again, real life education about how to work with people and how to provide for themselves. That's most of the people who are actually sabotaging for everyone else. And I truly believe that in a voluntarist society, in the libertarian society, people will take care of the poor. People will take care of each other. The basic reason why the rich want to become richer and richer and richer and richer and not help the poor, most of the rich people do care about the poor and actually are working towards helping the poor by giving them jobs and by donating their money and doing a lot of great things. But there are some rich people who don't care. And they're just aiming to make more and more money without thinking about anyone else or what they're creating for them. And they create wealth, they create jobs for other people, but and if they're crooks, it's basically, it's an exception compared to the rule. And it can be definitely done away with if there were fewer laws and the police actually had overview over what is actually going on. So that's my view of this channel, of the future of the Men of High Value movement, of society at large, and of the world. And that's my life mission, my life goal. I hope that you can at least be intrigued by this vision. You probably have lots of questions, and put them in the comment section. I want questions because there's so much more to this. I mean, there's even more. Like, I'm for homeschooling. I'm for privatized healthcare. I'm for, like, there's so much more to this. And I'm fired up, passionate about the fact that I'm now doing the transparent thing. And I'm fired up about life. I'm actually going bankrupt tomorrow. I'm excited. I have no idea. I've never done this before. And I'm actually going personally bankrupt. This is not a company bankruptcy where, yes, I know our business. No, this is personal bankruptcy where basically the government comes in and freezes your accounts and take all of your assets. Fortunately, I don't have any assets for them to take, so I don't lose anything right now. But it's exciting to be part of that process and just to see. And then what's going to happen after those 2 months, I know how to make money. I know how I've created several businesses and they were actually creating positive cash flow. It's just that I spent too much money in my family that I should have limited that. And I know now from the past 6 months what I should have done. But, when you get credit cards and you don't pay them off in full every single month, the exponential growth curve is going to catch up with you, and it did with me. So, but 2019, 2020, I'm going to pay it all off and I'm going to be ready for the recession that's coming ahead. So anyway, thank you for listening. Comment down below, subscribe, like this video, and I'll see you again tomorrow.